former president and potentially the next
You're
president.
not a serious person.
Yeah, like it doesn't
No,
make
we're
any
not
sense.
talking about this isn't a platforming argument.
No, but they're
This
saying
is a
that
question
they might have
about-
used us.
This is about being used, like to the extent of like to convince voters and to use people. Because look, I'm telling you guys, this did happen. Like I had multiple Trump interview requests in, and they were basically like, no. And I heard it off the record.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you're gonna ask him too hard questions. Like this, it was quite literally told to me, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Boom.
I think, I mean, there's a reason he's going on Theo Vaughn and all, and other places because they didn't think that was gonna happen. So I mean, like.
Saagar goes into the wilderness, goes with his, his bros, has a little sausage fest over with Andrew Schultz and a couple of those other chuds, and asks them a pointed question. Do you regret voting for Trump? And more interestingly to me, do you regret anything about your interview you had before he became president?
Yeah, I saw this,
both Crystal,
or at least the first part of it, and I thought it was pretty funny. The tone of Schultz and his, bros. It sounds like, children trying to like talk their way out of something after getting caught, with their hand in the cookie jar. And then they're like trying to gaslight you, but you're an adult. So you know what they're doing and you're like way smarter than them. So you're like, okay, like, let's, okay. Not that I have kids, but I imagine that's what it would be like. You catch your kid trying to take a fucking cookie and he's like gaslighting you. And you're like, no, I see what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the main takeaway that I had from this, just to preface it a little bit, is that you can't take any of these guys seriously. Okay, they are a reflection of the temperature of the country. They are a barometer for how successful the left is, because they will try and glom onto the left and take credit for our ideas and advocate for our ideas when it's popular, but they're going to do zero introspection. They're going to have zero conviction. They're not going to stand for anything. And they're sure as shit never going to take accountability when they get something wrong.
Yeah, 100%. This is hilarious. There's also one. Never mind. We'll let it just happen. I don't need to spoil it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Breaking Points, but this time it is being filmed in the Flagrant 2 studio here with the entire crew. Thank you guys so much for actually letting me use your studio after we recorded just a great episode, and it's really good to be with all of you.
Absolutely, my man.
All right, so I wanted to do this. Both Crystal and I have been wanting to talk to you guys for a while, kind of a reflection of Podcast Bro and the election. Andrew, you specifically have come under a lot of fire recently as the Podcast Bro, the guy who like led the way for Trump, but now is apparently having some regrets.
You don't know that?
So,
Trump had no support until Andrew said he was going to vote.
It's funny, I know.
He was like going to lose.
Okay, but let's put it this way. I wouldn't say it swung the election.
Incredible cope from his boy over there.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't say that it wasn't not unimportant to have Trump on all of these, right? And this is just part of like kind of that segment of the audience. And so my question is that
Look at the expression on his face, by the way. He's like knows that he fucking is getting his balls got right now. Like he's getting hammered to shit right now. Like he is, his ass is totally out.
Retrospect, do you wish that you would handle the Trump interview differently?
No,
now
not
that
at all.
you've seen how.
No,
so go
not at
into
all.
that a little bit.
No,
Okay.
I don't regret a single thing like about it. I don't know why that. Like, I don't even know where the question comes from.
Well, the question comes from an idea.
LOL, that was so,
there was
like,
a lot of criticism.
Like, what? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. No? Like, why can't... Is it so hard to just be like, yeah, maybe we were a little soft on the guy? I just hate that super, like, overly defensive attitude.
Yeah, it's crazy. Could you... I mean, there are dozens of interviews that we've done that were infinitely less consequential than interviewing the former president of the United States, or now the guy who became once again the president of the United States. Like, and of course, if you ask me, oh, would you have done anything different? The answer is almost always yes. Like, it doesn't mean I wouldn't be proud of what I did, or it doesn't mean I don't stand by what I was saying. But if you give me weeks, months, days, hours to reflect on something, yeah, I'm going to have notes for myself every single fucking day. We get off this live stream. We're like, what could we do a little bit better? Like, great show. We crushed it. We had a great time. Loved the audience. Loved all of that. But how can tomorrow we do a slightly better job? I know you think that way, Andrew Schultz. You have to have built a podcast up to this level. You know deep down that there's always something you can do to improve, right? At least abstractly, as a comedian, as a fucking performer, as a presenter, whatever, right? You mean to tell me that after the biggest fucking interview of your life, you never thought about it once? Bullshit. Bullshit. Now everything you say I know is a lie.
Yeah, 100%. I'll literally be rewatching our show while editing and be like, damn, I should have worded that differently. like, I need to smoke a little bit less weed before the show tomorrow because I sounded like I was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? This guy's like, nah, no notes. I think I totally 100% killed it, brah.
From the quote independent or not non-independent media, and they were like, well, Trump is going on these podcasts to kind of whitewash his reputation and basically to not face like quote tough journalistic questions.
Yeah, it just depends what your expectation of journalism is. And I think that like, I mean, you can speak to this a lot, but I was speaking to David Marchese at the New York Times about this.
Yeah, so I read your interview.
Yeah, so it's like
what you did was not journalism. He's like, it depends on what your expectation of journalism is. No, it's a totally different thing. What you did was not journalism. What other people did was. But that's how I would answer the question. I would have just been honest and been like, I'm not a journalist. That wasn't journalism. It was me fluffing up this dude who I wanted.
Propaganda.
Yeah, it was propaganda. That's the least charitable. The most charitable is like, oh, what do you mean, bro? I was just hanging out, dude. And like, I didn't know no better. But don't even pretend like, oh, this is some like different strain of journalism than what you're used to, as if it's even in the same fucking conversation as a real, hard-hitting interview with a political figure.
Yep.
There were some moments where he was like asking me some questions, and I was like, this is where things feel a little bit gotcha, because he was assuming that I talked to Bernie about one thing that I didn't talk to Trump about, and I'm like, but when did I talk to Bernie about it? And he's like, well, I can't exactly say it. I'm like, well, that's kind of where it feels gotcha, because you're coming in with a specific intention.
Yeah, that's right.
So like, and I actually think that he was like really fair, and that was a great interview. But like, an example of like my least favorite type of journalism, just the most low-hanging fruit, is like the girl that interviewed Tim Dillon. It's not really an interview.
Oh, my least favorite kind of interview is one where somebody's mean to my friend. Oh, if you try and get one of my friends, like, I'm not going to like you. But if you come on my show and you let me kiss your ass, and then you black bag people from the street and start more wars and escalate and do tariffs and do all those things, well, what do you expect from me, bro?
Yeah. And by the way, if you can't tell, they're very inspired by that Tim Dillon interview appearance. They've already basically plagiarized what he said, just in a way less funny and compelling fashion. And they're about to continue to do that for the next fucking 10 minutes. If you know what I'm talking about, that viral clip of Tim Dillon responding to the same charge, they're literally going to go on to fucking plagiarize that shit and just quote it over and over again without giving him credit. But yeah, it's so obvious they can't think for themselves. And it's just that one viral clip that they're going to fucking keep going back to.
Like an indictment. It's like, I think this thing of you, and I seek to prove that to my audience. I'm not coming here with any curiosity. So like, we don't see ourselves as like, I can't speak for the guys, but like as journalists so much, to say it's just like people that are having conversations that we're curious with. Now, I understand that when you get a lot of people listening, like, yeah,
or when you talk to the president of the United States, you dumb fuck. Hello. I don't know why people think it's political. I keep talking to all these politicians. Keep having all these guys on my show. What do they do for work? They're politicians. Yeah, they pass legislation. I don't know why anybody would ask me about legislation. I'm just an interviewer, bro.
Good. Like, if you're a responsible person, like, think about like what you owe, I guess, to the audience, and have that discussion. That's fair. And don't get me wrong, but like, I don't subscribe to this idea that like, you have to ask these hard questions that you're not curious about, or people that watch will criticize you. It's like, you don't have to watch.
Sure.
If you're in front of me, I'm going to ask you the things that I'm curious about. People are like, why don't you ask him about Epstein? I'm like, oh, so he can give the same fucking answer he's given for the last 2 decades. It's like, he's not going to immediately sit down with me and then after 3 questions be like,
and that's so annoying, bro. Because it's like the whole point of him going on a show like yours, the only point of him going on a show like yours would be so that after he gives that same canned answer he's already given a million times, you then hit him with a follow-up and say, come on, man, you can't bullshit me like you bullshit those other mainstream media shows. This is real talk. We're real people here. Let's be honest. Tell me what's up. That would be the only fucking point of having Donald Trump on a show like that. Then I'd actually applaud someone like Andrew Schultz for getting an interesting answer out of him, or at least trying to. But instead, he admits defeat before even trying.
100%. And I hate to give Andrew Schultz any props, but he did kind of do that in one narrow instance with Donald Trump, where he at least was funny and he at least did push Donald Trump on a controversial issue, which is when he pushed him on the abortion ban. And he didn't push him like in any meaningful way. I'm not trying, like, praise is too high of a term for what he did or what I'm, articulating, I guess. But I thought that it was good. It was better than much of the rest of the interview, because he was like, oh, bro, are you sure you want to ban abortions right as Barron Trump is about to start at NYU? And it was like, haha, like that's a bro kind of funny question, but you did ask it to a guy who's running on potentially allowing a national abortion ban, like he did. So, you know, even if you aren't comfortable being like, I'm going to debate guy, then you should have hit him with a couple of quips about Jeffrey Epstein. You should have actually pressed him on a couple of other issues and not just have this mealy mouth cop out. And I'm pretty sure later in this fucking exchange, he goes on to say, like, I would actually love to have Trump on again to talk to him about Epstein. It's like, well, if he was going to lie to you then, why do you want to have him back on to ask him that question that you argued you didn't want to ask him because you knew what he would say, which is a canned response? He's going to be way more cagey and canned now than he ever would have been the last time you had him on the show.
Yo.
The fuck them kids. Like that's not how
That's
these things
point.
work. So like for me, I think one of the reasons for the rise in podcasting opposed to like normal or traditional media is that you have people asking questions that they're authentically interested in instead of asking questions that like they think that their boss wants them to ask or they're worried their base wants to ask. Because now you're not even curious in the questions you're asking them out of fear of retribution from your audience. And now you're captured by your audience instead of your own curiosity.
And I would also say, absolutely. There are, at that point, in the polls, they were actually neck and neck, and Trump always overperforms in polls. So I don't know what impact we actually had, but there were two candidates left for president of the United States. I don't want to talk to both of them. I want to talk to both of them. And second of all, there's things
He said, I don't want to talk to both of them. I want to talk to both of them.
I think he just meant to say, I want to, like, they wanted to talk to both of them. Because at one point they go on to say, like, I wish we'd had Kamala on too.
I don't want to talk to both of them. I want to talk to both of them. And second of all, there's things we all talked about that we wanted to ask Trump, but I could do the thing that feels really good.
I didn't want to make my audience mad at me by asking him something that would piss him off. That's exactly what you just described. You are audience captured. That's why you had Donald Trump on and didn't ask him anything that would ruffle his base's feathers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Where I ask a gotcha question and I dunk on you, and then he gets up and he walks off and he says, go fuck yourself. I know, I've seen enough interviews with this guy to know I have to relate to him on a human level.
I have to kiss his ass.
And then when he feels safe, maybe he'll answer the questions I want to ask. Are you going to run for a third term? Are you willing to tone down the rhetoric? I got to ask those questions, but you had to get to the point where he's willing to answer those questions.
Sure. Yeah.
So I could have done the thing that feels good and dunked on him, but we would have gotten absolutely nowhere.
And who does it feel
and that's a
good
tactical
for?
thing. No, it's important.
You just have to
Just
have the
comment
things
too,
that you
like-
want to ask
like
and
no one
ask
is
them.
saying
And I had
that,
3 things I wanted to ask him about.
No one is saying that like they should have just gone in there and immediately started roasting him, dunking on him all at once. Like obviously that's not the fucking point. They're saying they should have asked tough questions. It's such a straw man that they keep beating down over and over again. Like, what, you want us to go in there and just be rude to him, just force him to storm off? It's like, no, bro.
Yeah, every time I react to conservatives in any way, I'm just like, wow, this is just an exemplary case of male fragility. Whether it was that big asshole that was like, where are you even from, buddy? I'll fucking, everybody who knows me knows that I have to stay calm. Otherwise, I'll turn into the Incredible. Or these guys, they can't take an ounce of pushback. They can't do any self-reflection. They can't hear anybody say, I think you should have maybe considered doing this differently. They have to gaslight, and obfuscate.
Yep.
Asked him about those 3 things.
Okay.
And that was it.
Right.
Yeah, I will say my only wish is that Kamala came on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Like
well, that's really
to
more
me,
of
it seems
a-
like a Nixon Humphreys thing where like, you know, they have the laugh-in moment and Nixon does it and it turns out great. And that it was a strategic blunder from their side to not go on to these, you know, non-traditional platforms.
Alex, anything?
Same. Ditto what Mark said.
Well, I think the question then is,
Yeah, bro. I was also going to bring up the, Hubert Humphrey, Richard Nixon example, but that guy beat me to the punch, man.
We have Kamala on. You really can't say anything because we're going to ask Kamala the same questions.
Right.
We're going to have the same curiosity.
We're going to laugh with her.
Yeah.
We're going to make her look like a human.
Exactly. And the authentic curiosity is going to shine through. And if she bombs the interview, that's on her. If she does great, that's on her, just like with Trump. But we're going to ask the things that we're curious about. And I think that like the numbers show that if you look at anything from Rogan, you look at anything to like Alex Cooper, it's not just this right-wing thing. There's a left wing. When people are asking the questions that they're curious about.
Who is Alex Cooper? Do you know who that is?
I think that she hosts the Call Me Daddy podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a huge
Or Call
show.
Her Daddy or whatever. It's like the big women's show or something.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I remember when Kamala went on there, I thought the interview was really fucking cringe.
Yeah.
The interviews are indulged far more when they're doing puff piece things like when Alex Cooper had Kamala on. Nobody gives a fuck about it. And I think that tells you everything you want.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. But if we were to flip it around, if Trump were to come back today, which we hope he will, right?
Yeah.
Like, I hope you guys put it in your ask. They put a statement out about you guys. Would it be different tonally this time around? Now that you've actually had him in office, and would you feel how would you feel as somebody then who had been critical of him walking into that? Like, tonally, would it be different in terms of the tenor that you might take and asking a follow-up question?
So here's the thing. Like, and we said this before. Like, I'm not in one of your fucking cults. Like, I'm not in the right wing cult, the left wing cult. I'm a free American, and I'll ask whatever fucking questions I want to ask. Okay, so like, for me, when somebody's in power, that's not when you relax, especially if it's a person that you voted for. That's where you hold them to their promises. So like, Trump comes back on, which he's absolutely invited to come back on. He's the leader of the free world. I want to know what's up with the Epstein shit.
There it is, buddy. I thought you couldn't ask him about Epstein because then he would just give you a canned response, bro. What am I going to ask him about Jeffrey Epstein? And then he's going to just give me the same canned response. And then I'm not going to know any of the good stuff because I didn't kiss his ass. I didn't give him a little bit of a reach around. I didn't tickle the taint before I got into the deep shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just shredded your own entire argument that you made 3 minutes ago, doggy.
Yeah. Plus, now you don't have any fucking leverage. Trump has no reason to even try to say what you want him to fucking say because he's already president. It's too late. He doesn't have to promise you shit. You don't have any fucking leverage. He can do whatever he wants. He can destroy all the fucking evidence, which he probably already is doing / has done. And you can't do shit about it. Because again, he's already fucking president. Thanks to you and all your dumb idiot bros and your fucking puff pieces that you did, which is funny that he tries to say the call her daddy thing was a puff piece as if what they did wasn't. Bro, you did a fucking puff piece for Donald Trump. It was just a, off the cuff puff piece instead of a scripted one.
Yep, 100%. You want to keep watching this?
Fast forward to like 9 minutes and 30 seconds. There's a good moment in here that I did want to quickly react to. But after that, we can.
Who is upset?
I'm saying so. Some of the people who privately have had on these people may be upset at the thing.
Another podcaster might be upset with Trump, but
but they're not as willing right now, to be able to say it, or they have to couch their criticisms maybe less so than you have. So, like, how do you look at it, like, generally?
For me personally, I'm curious. I've heard so much things about Trump from the media. Oh, he's that, he's this, he's that. But seeing him in person in long form, he has less of it opportunity to bullshit us. Like, once you're talking for a good amount of time, you can start to gauge. And I wanted to really know who he was. And I got a sense he was much sharper than I thought he was. Like, he's
incredibly sharp.
He's aware of everything going on.
Creature.
Yeah, so it's like that.
It's actually amazing to watch.
To me, anybody who wouldn't want to speak to somebody who's former president and potentially an next
You're
president.
not a serious person.
Yeah, like, it doesn't make
we're not
sense.
talking about this isn't a platforming argument.
No, but they're saying that they might have used us.
This is about being used, like, to the extent of, like, to convince voters and to use people. Because look, I'm telling you guys, this did happen. Like, I had multiple Trump interview requests in, and they were basically like, no. And I heard it off the record. It's like, bro, you're gonna ask him 2 hard questions. Like, this, it was quite literally told to me, right? Now,
boom. That's actually a flex for Saagar, right? Because we heard through the grapevine that Saagar was really interested in interviewing Trump. We were kind of waiting for it to happen. It was something in the build-up to the election I really wanted to see. I thought it was going to happen at some point. It never did. And I believe Saagar. I believe that he would have had too tough of questions for Donald Trump to be willing to sit down with him. That's why Donald Trump did not sit down with any journalist who wasn't explicitly friendly, and anybody who he really just wanted to sit down with people who weren't even journalists at all. He wanted to sit down with Joe Rogan. He wanted to sit down with Andrew Schultz. He wanted to go on the podcast bro circuit because then he could just be flattered the entire time, which is exactly what happened.
Yep, 100%. Saagar's kind of calling out Andrew a little bit there. He won't actually, put his chest out and say it, but he's like, bro, I actually am a fucking journalist. And you're over here talking about, like, oh, it's about what you expect from journalism. He's like, I actually am a fucking journalist. I actually did want to conduct a real journalistic exchange with Donald Trump. I didn't get that chance, bro. And there's a reason you fucking did. There's a reason you fucking did. And there's a reason all these other clowns did. It's because they knew they weren't actually going to do any goddamn journalism.
Yep.
I mean, there's a reason he's going on Theo Vaughn and all, and other places, because they didn't think that was going to happen. So, I mean, like, that's what I'm asking for.
I had 3 things I wanted to ask him about. And the entire interview was, in my mind, I think, like, designed to get him to a place of comfort where he could honestly speak at length on those things.
Yeah.
I wanted him
All
to acknowledge he was
Yeah,
going to
that's
protect
basically
IVF.
all you need to hear. That he wanted to ask 3 things, one of which was a fucking super softball question about fucking abortion or whatever. The other of which was like also a super softball question about like, can't we just all be nicer? Like, let's be more civil, bro. Like, let's tone down the rhetoric. I'm not even kidding you. That's his idea of a fucking tough question. But as he just said there, the whole point of the interview was making him feel comfortable, was making him feel nice and comfortable. So at the very end, he could answer a softball question. Wow. Good job, bro.
100%. So anyway, good on Saagar for at least blasting him to his face, hitting him with a little bit of a backhanded diss right there.
Yeah.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.